would have had a huge piece of paper to do it. But since we're each going to be doing it on our own, I was thinking of things that you guys might already know and what you might want to learn. It's totally okay if you guys don't know anything yet about flowers. That's the whole point of this. I'm going to teach you guys some things. But if you do, write some stuff down. Like, for example, I wrote about what I know is that flowers need water to grow and that flowers come from seeds. So if you want to write those down, you can. If you know some other things, totally write them down. You can write down as much as you want. And then for what I want to learn, I wrote down that do all plants grow from the same seed and how many types of plants are there? So we are going to leave the L section for the end because that's what we learned. So we're going to come back to this chart at the end and write down what we learned from this lesson. So the next thing I'm going to do is read the book From Seed to Plant by Gail Gibson. It's an awesome book, has awesome pictures. I'm going to upload a version of me just reading it up close so you guys can really get to see this. And that's going to be in the PowerPoint and in the digital learning plan, aside from this video. So, yeah, so we're going to read it. These are just some questions I have, these Post-its. Every time I ask a question, if you guys could just pause the video and for 10 seconds, just think of an answer. You can write it down or just keep it in your head. But again, just pause the video, think of it, and then resume it when you're ready and you have an answer. Okay? So, From Seed to Plant by Gail Gibson. As you can see already, there's so many cool pictures, and she labels everything so you know what they are. So, like, this is a squash, this is tomato, this is a tulip, daisy, rose, totally a ton of different plants in here. So, most plants make seeds. A seed contains the beginning of a new plant. Seeds are different shapes, sizes, and colors. All seeds grow into the same kind of plant that made them. You can see this is a sunflower seed. That's a sunflower. This is an acorn and an oak tree. Many plants grow flowers. Flowers are where most seeds begin. Some flowers, dandelion. And the question I have for you guys, so remember to pause after I ask this, is what parts of the plant do you already know? Like, I'll give an example. I know that there are roots. So pause the video and think of any parts of a flower that you guys already know. All right. So a flower is made up of many parts. You can see. We have the stem. The bottom part of the pistons are tiny egg cells called uvules. We have the petals. The sticky part at the top of the piston is called the stigma. So a ton of parts. I don't expect you guys to know all of these because I don't know all of them, but if you knew some, there you go. Before a seed can begin to grow, a grain of pollen from the stigma must land on the stigma at top of the piston of the flower like itself. This is called pollination. So here you go. Pollination happens in different ways. Often the wind blows pollen from flower to flower. So as you can see, this is the pollen going from flower to flower from the wind. Bees and other insects and hummingbirds help pollinate too. While they visit flowers for their sweet juice called nectar, pollen rubs onto their bodies. So here's a bee and a hummingbird. And now the question I have for you guys is, have you ever seen a bee on a flower, maybe last summer or in the spring? And did you know that it was pollinating? Then they carry the pollen to another flower where it comes off onto its piston. Here you go. See the bee and the hummingbird again. If a pollen grain from a flower lands on the piston onto the same kind of flower, it grows a long tube through the piston into the uvula. This is the beginning of a seed. So here's the uvula, the pollen grain, and the tube that will grow. The seed grows inside the flower even as the flower begins to die. As the seed becomes bigger, a fruit or pod grows around them. The fruit or pod protects the seed. Here's the fruit protecting it, and then here's an example of a pod. When the fruit or pod ripens, it breaks open. The seeds are ready to become new plants. As you can see, it's breaking open and seeds are in there. Breaking open, some seeds are falling. Some seeds fall to the ground around the base of a plant where they will grow. So, here's another example of them falling to the ground. Some pods or fruits open and the same seed pops out. Sometimes when birds eat berries, they drop the seed. Here's the bird flying and it's dropping some of the seeds coming out of the flower. Other seeds fall into streams, ponds, river, or the ocean. They then travel on the water until they stick to dirt along the shore. I did not know that. That's pretty cool. You can see the seed and then one stuck to shore. The wind scatters seeds. Some seeds have fluff on them that lets them float to the ground like tiny parachutes. Others have wings that spin as they fall. There we go. This one must be spinning. Animals help scatter seeds too. They hide acorns and nuts in the ground. Some seeds have hooks that stick to the fur of animals or people's clothes. Later they drop off into the ground. So I did not know that. That's pretty cool. See the animal digging and the seeds on someone's pants. And the question I have for you is, did you guys know that us humans help transport seeds around? A flower bed or vegetable garden is beautiful. Seeds are planted to grow in the garden. You see this little guy is planting some tomatoes, it looks like, in his garden. The seeds come in small envelopes or boxes. Directions explain how to plant the seeds and care for the plants. She is planting lettuce and she has some corn too, and then the directions would be on the box. The beginning of a plant is curled up inside each seed. Food is stored inside the seed too. The seed has a seed coat on the outside to protect it. There you go. This is the seed and the food inside. The seed will not sprout until certain things happen. First, it must be in or on soil. Then it needs to rain to soak the seed and soften its coat. So as you can see, it is in the soil and it is raining to help soften the coat of the seed, which is right there. When the sun shines and warms the ground, the seed coat breaks open and the seed begins to grow. This is called germination. A root grows down into the soil. The root takes in water and minerals from the soil for food. So germination is happening. Roots are growing. You can see the sun is out, so it's warming it. It grows up a shoot. Green leaves grow from the shoot towards the sun. As you can see, here's the shoot. It's growing. The plant grows bigger and bigger. The leaves make food for the plant from the water and the minerals in the soil, the sunlight and the air all around the plant too. See, leaves are growing. This is the shoot, seed, the roots, sun. Finally, the plant is full grown. Buds on the plants open into the flower where new seeds will grow. Here are the buds right there growing. And these are the flowers. Many of the foods people eat are seeds, fruits, and pods. They are full of nutrition, vitamins, and minerals, and they are tasty too. So here is some fruit that was grown. So you have tomato, corn, a pumpkin, and then here are some little boys and girls eating them. My last question is, have you guys or your families or someone you know grown some fruits or vegetables themselves? I know my grandma used to grow some strawberries in her backyard, and it'd be really cool in the summertime to have fresh strawberries every couple of weeks, and they were delicious. So that is the end of the book. It's a great book. Again, I'm going to upload a version of me just reading it up close so you guys can really see the pictures. So then after that, we're going to do the first activity and is matching game, which will later turn into flashcards once we do them. So I attached the worksheet and it is on the digital lesson plan, but it's going to print out to be these two things. So you're going to cut out each of these 6 individual steps of how to grow a flower, and then you're going to cut out these numbers. And what we're going to do is eventually stick the 6 stages to equal the numbers that they represent. So what's going to look like after you cut them out is here's some numbers I cut out, here's some more, and then here are some of the stages. You cut them out, and then either if you want to glue them, when you're cutting them out though, make sure you have a parent watching you to cut them out, or a guardian, someone older who can also help you. And then once you cut them out, you want to line them up to the correct stage and number. So for example, the first thing you need to do is have some soil. So that's going to be number 1. So I'm going to take the number 1 and I'm going to tape them, attach them, and now it becomes a flashcard also, which is pretty cool. So then step 2 would be to plant a seed. And I have it here. Goes with number 2, attach them. There you go. Number 3 would be to water. Here we go. And you guys can go back in the PowerPoint or rewatch the video if you need to remember what the steps are, or watch the video that I uploaded too. Number 4 would be sunlight. Number 5 would be sprouting. And number 6 would be the plant blooming. So yeah, so now they are also really little flashcards, which is really cool for you guys to just keep going over them. We are going to fill in the last part of the KWL chart, which is L. So some things that you may have learned, like that roots grow down. Roots don't grow up in the soil, remember they grow down. So I'm going to write that down. Also that there are many different kinds of flowers. If you could see from that book, remember that she illustrated so many different types of flowers and she named them all. So I'm going to write that down. So you can see. So if you guys want to pause the video and if you want to write these down, or if you have other things that you learned that you want to write down, this is the time. And lastly, if you guys can, I know you guys maybe are going a little crazy having to be in your house during this time. So if you guys want to grab a family member, a parent, someone older, or go in your backyard, but make sure you tell your parents and go outside in your front lawn, around your block, somewhere in your community, and look for flowers. I uploaded some really cool pictures that I took from my backyard, my front yard, and from my neighbors' yards, of some beautiful flowers that are blooming. And if you want to take a picture of that, and send it to me, or if you want to draw it, that's also really cool. Or if you don't have any flowers around you yet, just draw some flowers that you really liked from the book or that you've seen before that you really like. And that is lesson 1, and I hope you guys really liked it. Thank you.